Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So, I've got guys an urgent update on Hurricane Helene. All right, so Helene is now an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane. And as you can see, it's got quite a long time before it makes landfall. It's looking like we could even see a landfall as late as 8 o'clock tonight, which is definitely a lot later than we initially expected. But the fact that this thing has now gone stronger than we initially anticipated, because this morning this was supposed to be a Category 3 hurricane at landfall, and now it's already a Category 4 with still some time to be over waters. All right, so that's what makes this storm very threatening, very dangerous. So, looking at this 3D satellite, this long wave, just kind of show you guys the height of these cloud tops. You can just see that we have very, very cold cloud tops. There is deep, rich convection going on here. So we have a very tight and organized core. You can see that eye right in the middle there. That is, that eye wall is going to be producing some really, really intense winds. But as of right now, the areas getting hit the hardest right now are probably around Perry, Apalachicola, Crawfordville. Cedar Key's getting hit pretty hard right now, but look at that eye. That is a massive eye, guys. That eye is, let's see, that eye is about 30 or so miles wide. So really, really crazy to see this kind of stuff happening here. But Tampa's getting probably some of the worst impacts that they're going to see from the system. We've been seeing a ton of tornado warnings, a ton of tornadoes today. Spin ups are still expected, as we do have a 10% risk of tornadoes going into sections of South Carolina into Georgia. You can see these outer bands are still yet to make their way into the region, but we still do have some tornado warnings going on in southern Georgia. But this is just a beast of a hurricane here. Nothing you want to mess around with. So this is now officially a Category 4 hurricane. Could get even stronger because it is right now in a period of intense, rapid intensification. But yeah, right now this is just moving its way up to the north and east, and we're just going to see this probably make landfall actually a little bit farther to the east than expected. So it's looking like around Cross City and Horseshoe Beach, actually, which got hit very hard, I believe, by Hurricane Idalia last year. So looks like Perry's going to get hit very hard. But I think Apalachicola is going to be just missed by this eye and the eye wall. Still going to get hurricane force winds, no doubt. I believe Apalachicola is already getting hurricane force winds. But really, anywhere from Cedar Key to Perry is where you could probably see the highest chance of an actual landfall. But looks like a landfall is going to happen about 45 minutes to an hour from now. But yeah, this is definitely a very dangerous situation. So just quickly going back to the radar here, or going to the radar here, I should say. You can already see the eyes approaching very rapidly. Look at these outer bands, guys. These outer bands are really starting to, push their way inland, and we're going to start to see a lot of tornadoes, a lot more tornadoes come out of the system, but the whole thing is still not in a view yet, and we just can already tell that this is an absolute beast of a storm here. What is radar picking up as far as winds go? Well, this is very far away from the radar site, but the radar is estimating, and this is the outer core of the storm, but the radar is estimating winds over 100 miles per hour. Remember, those gusts are going to be higher. So right now, it seems like we could have gusts on the outer core of the storm up to 120 miles per hour. So that means Cross City, Horseshoe Beach, Jenna, Trenton, even maybe Newberry. You're going to have gusts potentially over 100 miles per hour and close to 120 miles per hour as far as those gusts go. Apalachicola right now, very close to hurricane force. You're probably getting hurricane force gusts at the moment, but very dangerous situation that's currently unfolding here across Florida and also up into Georgia. You can see these outer bands really starting to make their way in. Near Albany, we did have a few tornado warnings, but really this whole area of southern Georgia has just been hit really, really hard by these tornadic spin-ups, and we're still going to see a lot more as we go into tonight. So, very dangerous situation expected to unfold overnight tonight. So you take a look at the storm surge forecast. Last time we did an update, couldn't do an update last night. That was very unfortunate, but they did bump it up to 20 feet, just in case you didn't know that. So Suwannee River, down towards Carabel. All right, we're expecting 15 to 20 feet of storm surge, catastrophic and record-breaking storm surge. This is this is just a incredibly bad disaster that we've got here. These coastal regions are just going to be absolutely inundated. But Chesapeake, 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. Towards the Anclote River, 8 to 12 feet. So, you can already tell these numbers are really, really concerning. But Appalachian caliber right now, putting you guys at about 10 to 15. But you could definitely see some very, very high impacts from that storm surge. Now, Indian Pass to Mexico Beach, you're in an area that's away from the Big Bend of Florida, right? And the Big Bend of Florida is actually protecting you guys from getting the worst of the surge. So that's why we see a very big drop off from 10 feet to 5 feet. But it really looks like Big Bend is it literally looks like just a piece of floor that got carved out specifically for this storm to bring the worst storm surge. That's what it looks like. But middle of Longboat Key into Tampa, 5 to 8 feet. Tampa Bay is really going to get hit hard, and I already know we have a lot of flooding out there, so it's just going to get worse. Tampa Bay is going to fill up. But Englewood, 74, Charlotte feet, 3 to 5, and then down to the Florida Keys and the dry Tortugas, 1 to 3 feet. If you guys didn't know this, we also do have a high risk of flash flooding. And we actually had two zones. We had one surrounding Tallahassee, and we had one up here in the interior North Carolina. Now these two have connected. Figured that was going to happen, and we definitely see that right now. So this is the 1 to 3 excessive rainfall outlook, 1 to 3 day excessive rainfall outlook here for Hurricane Helene. But from Tallahassee all the way up to just west of Charlotte, just east of Knoxville, we're expecting at least a 70% chance of seeing flash flooding. But Atlanta, right in the middle of this, I mean, you're going to get really, really intense impacts. And the fact that it's a stronger storm means you could even get hurricane force wind gusts all the way up into Atlanta. So that's also a very concerning factor that's going to come into this. But really, really intense storm that we've got here. Moderate risk flash flooding in the red shade, slight in the yellow shade. As of right now, for our SPC outlook, this is our day one outlook. You can see we have a broad 10% risk of tornadoes along the coastline here, going up from Jacksonville all the way up to Wilmington. All right. This is an area that is yet to see the worst of these spin-ups. We're still trying to get those outer bands on shore because remember, the storm is still just off the coast of Florida, so we're still going to, wait for those outer bands to come on shore. But tonight looks like a very long night, and I'm just afraid we're going to have a lot of situations that are just going to unfold very quickly, and I think that, we're going to see a lot of areas get hit unexpectedly. I think, the National Weather Service out here is so much on their hands right now that, they're going to have to look very, extremely closely at every possible velocity couplet that we see out here, because remember, any spin up can definitely cause a lot of damage, and it just happens so quickly, and it's just really scary stuff out there. But got a 5% risk for tornadoes for the peninsula of Florida, going all the way up towards South Carolina here, Wilmington and Charlotte. But Tampa, Fort Myers, Orlando, Melbourne, all of you guys are in the 5%. You're starting to see those really intense just tornado spin-ups really starting to happen there, and then you've got a 2% in the green shade. Tomorrow's risk for severe weather, we do have an enhanced risk once again. This is not like a classic severe weather event. Obviously, this is all driven by tornadoes. You have another 10% risk just surrounding Wilmington. It's the entire Wilmington area in general, going into a little bit of South Carolina, a little bit into North Carolina. All right, but surrounding that, you have a 5% risk into southern Virginia and the rest of central and eastern Carolinas. But still a equally dangerous day for tornadoes tomorrow. Spin-up tornadoes, you also have a 2% risk in the green shade. All right, so very concerning with that. The cone as of right now, you can see right now it's 130 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane. I doubt it's going to get to Cat 5. I think it's very unlikely at this point. I think it's possible, but you could see. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting pretty close to landfall. So I'd give another about 45 minutes or so, and then we'll probably see this thing end up making landfall. But you can see this is just now a Category 4 hurricane, 130 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts likely up to 160 miles per hour in the side of this eye wall, but just a beast of a hurricane here. You have hurricane warnings now all the way down close to Tampa, but Spring Hill, Holiday, Homosassa Springs, everybody out here, Cedar Key. So the current cone has this thing making landfall just to the south and west of Perry. So this would make landfall near the Appalachian Bay area. All right, I think this could make landfall a little bit farther to the east. So that would probably put areas near like Horseshoe Beach, Steinhatchee. I think I'm saying that right. I think you guys are probably going to see a higher chance of seeing this eye wall. As a matter of fact, look, this eye wall is actually the eye is just to to the east of this cone here from the National Hurricane Center. So obviously they're doing an excellent job keeping their heads on the system, but I think this is going to go a little bit further to the east of their current cone, and we'll hopefully see that change in the next update. All right, but still, a Category 2 hurricane by the time this gets into southern Georgia. So, Tifton, you're going to get Category 2 hurricane force winds, 105-mile-per-hour sustained winds going all the way up to Atlanta. And look how far north this goes. I mean, you could have hurricane force winds all the way up into northern Georgia, maybe as far north as southern Tennessee into Chattanooga. All right, it's possible, but unlikely. But just a very dangerous system that we are expecting to make landfall here in just a short amount of time. All right, so I'm going to do this on the fly. We're going to take a look at U.S. power outages because I do want to take a look at these power outages for you guys. So, yeah, you can see already Florida, look at this. 346,000 customers without power already into Florida. This is going to spike. I mean, you're going to definitely at this point get over 1 million customers without power. Once that eye makes landfall, once the technical hurricane makes a landfall, all right, you're going to see this probably double, potentially even triple, but I think we could definitely get to, even close to 2,000. I mean, it's just, this thing is really knocking out power. And you look at the counties right now, it's just all across really the entire west coast of Florida here. But really, in the Big Bend of Florida, we're going to see these power outages really start to ramp up. I think that this is really unreliable data because I do think that there are more than 0 people without power out here. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to see a huge spike in these power outages. So that might be a glitch actually, because I think that we just have so many power outages that it still has to update. But man, that's a very dangerous situation. Look at Georgia here and the Carolinas starting to climb slowly but surely with those power outages. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for coming to watch. See you guys in the next video. So just want to make a quick emergency update on the Helene just before it makes landfall. If you're somehow watching this in Florida, don't be scared. Be prepared. If just hunker down. All right, you can't get out. There's no point in leaving. But don't be scared. Be prepared, and yeah, just stay safe out there. All right. So thank you all for coming to watch. I'll see you guys in the next video.